Hi everyone, good evening. I am Satyanarayan Das. I am a certified PMP from PMI. I will be your host for the next one hand. If you can see the hand, so if you can, so the organizer from Knowledgehut will help you. So this session is about how to be a PMI PMP. It is more with respect to the process of being a PMI PMP rather than knowing the introductory part. This has been organized by Knowledgehut. It is a registered education provider from PMI. Okay, a brief about myself. So I have around 14 years of experience in software development and management. I am a certified PMP from PMI since 2008. I have created new practices on PMP. So they are Agile PMP, Practical PMP with Microsoft Project, Practical PMP with Oracle Primavera. Out of that, Practical PMP with Microsoft Project is the most popular one, and it has seen global adoption. Also Agile PMP, which is a new approach to PMI PMP, and recently last month in January, not in last month, in beginning of January, we launched the Practical PMP with Oracle Primavera. So I have around 10 international research publications on PMP, which has been translated to many other languages. I am a reviewer for PMI for the RDS. RDS stands for Role Delineation Study. Fundamentally, it is for helps you to the PMP exam questions that you will have. So I help PMI in setting up the exam questions. I am a volunteer for PMI local chapter. Recently, I have a lot of people who are getting certified on PMP, so they have started blogging as a guest blogger in my blog, which I write in Management Yogi, which is mentioned in the left side of the screen. Last month, there was a guy from Australia. He's a program manager from Australia. He got certified within 2 months. So I hope he's coming soon. His experiences are coming soon. The agenda that we have for this session is about PMI PMP, the value of being a PMI PMP, prerequisites and PMP certification, the roadmap. On this I will focus more in this session, from a candidate PMP to be successful PMP. I call candidate PMP when you are eligible and when your application has been approved by PMI. So from that step onwards, till you are certified as a PMI PMP, so that is what I will be focusing on. Post PMP certification, what we have to do. Next, we will be continuing and sustaining the benefits of PMP. So this we will cover in 45 to 50 minutes. And after that, we will have a question and answer session. And so during that, you can put your questions to the organizer. She will help you to put the question back to me. And as much as possible, we'll answer your questions. About PMI PMP. PMP stands for Project Management Professional. It is a professional credential for project managers across various industries. So the misconception that I see that it is applicable to a set of people from particular set of industry, it is not. Personally, I have seen people last month, not last month, in this month itself, March, I have a student who is a doctor, who is an MBBS student who is going for MD. He is a doctor in a popular hospital in India, and he wants to apply PMP in his day-to-day operational management in the hospital. I have seen banking professionals, I have seen constructions managers, I have seen manufacturing professionals, I have seen space scientists, I have seen, as I mentioned, doctors. And in January also, first time I saw also people coming from fashion technology. So from India, there are many fashion-related institutes and also professionals. So she was a lady, she wanted to do PMP, to apply the PMP principle in fashion. So the thing that I'm trying to say here is that it is not applicable to software technology or software business. It is applicable to various industry verticals. The PMP certification is offered by PMI, so which is a Project Management Institute. It is established in 1969. It is a not-for-profit management body. PMP is the most popular certification offered by PMI, which we are going to discuss in the next 40 to 50 minutes. The others that we have in certification offered by PMI are CAPM, which is Certified Associate in Project Management. You have PGMP, which is Program Management Professional. You have PFMP, which is Portfolio Management Professional. You have PMI ACP. It got launched 2 to 3 years before, which is Agile Certified Practitioner. You have PMI RMP, which is Risk Management Professional. You have Schedule Management Professional. And you have PMI PBA, which is recently launched. It is for Professional Business Analyst. But the growth on PMP, this is the most popular certification and it is a globally accepted certification. In PMI, so the candidate will be assessed on education and experience. That is one part of that. Another will be testing competence. Of course, you know that you will be going for an exam. So that is the second part of it. And once you are certified, you are going to have an ongoing professional development. If you are certified, it doesn't mean that you are certified for your entire life. So there are 3 parts to it: your education experience, your testing in the exam and passing in the exam, and continuing with the PMI PMP certification. We'll see more on that. The value of PMI PMP. So it is world's most known and respected and most influential project management certification. As far as I have seen, so there are many certification bodies from Northern America, from Europe, from APAC region, but PMI PMP actually stands tall among them. And it has, as on 2014, by December 2014, there are around 640,000 certified professionals of PMP. It is one of the biggest bodies. To give you a brief history, so I have been seeing PMI PMP since 2007 onwards. I got certified in 2008. 2004, there were around 100,000 professionals. So in the last 10 years, there have been a tremendous amount of growth coming from 100,000 professionals to 640,000 professionals. It is a globally accepted standard. It's structured set of project management domains. There are 5 project management domains, 10 knowledge areas, and processes. There are 47 processes, and also it includes a lot of evolving good practices. So PMI actually doesn't have a fixed standard guide, rather it guides evolves. So the recent that you have is the PMBOK 5th edition. The first edition got published in 1996. Actually, if you look at the credential came in 1984. So the certification is now 31 years old. So from 1996, the formal guide that you have, till 2013, we have the 5th edition of guide came up. So it has evolved also along with the new management concepts that are coming. Another part of PMI, the value is, it covers a lot of standards. It has covered ISO, it has covered Agile. When I say Agile, people will say, no, it doesn't cover. It is not being fair to PMI. Agile related concepts are introduced specifically. Agile word has been introduced from 5th edition onwards. But if you look at on the 2nd edition, which came in 2000, this iterative and incremental, progressive elaboration, rolling web planning, these are fundamental Agile concepts which are available from 2000 onwards. So that is part of PMI PMBOK guide. PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. We will see more on that. Kaizen, which is a Toyota principle. PMI has mentioned it as continuous improvement. Then you have TQM, which is Total Quality Management. PMI also has included CPM, Critical Path Estimate. You have EVM, Earned Value Management. If you are in say US related, government related projects, EVM is mandatory. Then you have CMMI, which is Capability Maturity Model Integrated. In India, so a lot of companies, including world's first company on CMMI is from India. So they have concepts from PMI. Then you have one Lean, you have one Six Sigma, and also it has other practices like you have Monte Carlo, you have Six Sigma, Lean combined. So all these standards have been part of PMI. So that is what adds more value to this certification. And one of the most sought after global certification across industry verticals. As I said, not only software professional or technical people, it is also people who are in medical profession, people who are in fashion profession, people who are in space engineering, people in construction, banking, manufacturing. So I have seen personally, people have come to my class experience to know how to be a certified PMI. Alright, so we'll be talking briefly about the PMI PMP exam. So this is based on fundamentally on PMBOK guide. So PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. It's a guide. It's in soft copy. It will be a PDF file. You can have a hard copy. It is around 600 plus pages. The current edition that you have is 5th edition of PMBOK guide. This came in end of December. From December 2013 onwards, this got enforced. So the old edition has got not applicable right now. Looking at the history, it is first edition 1996, second edition came in 2000, third edition came in 2004. I got certified on third edition. Fourth edition came in 2008, fifth edition came in 2012. So if you look at every 4 years, PMI actually releases a new edition of PMBOK guide. So I am expecting by December 2016, another edition of PMBOK guide, 6th edition might come up. The reason they evolve because project management as a profession is also evolving. And as I mentioned, I'm an RDS reviewer. So not only me, if you have also inputs to PMI and you have comments on PMBOK guide, PMI will take your comments. That is another good thing about PMI. So PMI examination questions, how they are organized. It is developed in accordance with ISO and IEC 17024 standard. It is developed and validated by a group of PMP holders. So if you are a PMP holder, PMI might contact you to have the examination questions. Similarly, it has a huge body. A lot of people worldwide contribute to the questions and standards. A reference to current PM practices, including those of PMIs. So here is another important part. So as in the session I said, it is not about introductory session, whether the tips and tricks and what this exam is all about and how you are going to get certified on the PMI PMP. So it is not only the PMBOK guide, but you have other standards from PMI, like you have standards on ABM, you have standards on WBS, which is the work breakdown structure, and also new standards which are coming on PM network. So evolving standards which might be part of your exam. So PMBOK guide, yes, it is your main book. In addition to that, you might also expect questions which are not part of PMBOK guide. Are monitored through psychometric analysis. This is another key part which people miss. So psychometric analysis means PMI is testing you, like your cognitive ability. It is asking whether you are, it is checking whether you are fit to be a project manager. They are checking your strengths, they are checking your weaknesses, and they are psychometrically analyzing you. Another part is ECO, which is examination content outline. So I have seen many people go for PMBOK guide. Yes, it is the main guide as I'm repeatedly saying. But if you have to be a certified PMI PMP, you need to have a look at the ECO as well. What happens in ECO and PMBOK has some overlapping, but there are some contents which is very unique to PMI ECO. So specifically, PMI ECO has 37 tasks. And there are 65 knowledge and skills which you need to be familiar with. So I would suggest wherever you are reading the PMBOK guide or wherever you are preparing, ask your training provider or ask your coach, is it compatible with ECO as well? So that will help you. In Knowledgehut, it is compatible, the material that we have. I also take my own notes in Bangalore when I go, so that is pretty much compatible with ECO. Next we will be talking about the process. If you look at PMI handbook, which is now this is a Google generation or rather Facebook generation. So all of you have been knowing that it will be a handbook PDF by searching in Google. But that is, they have complicated, there are a lot of things they have put. I have simplified it completely. So what I have put here is step 1 to step 7 on how to be a PMI PMP. So step 1 is check your eligibility. That is, here I say once you are eligible, I call the people, my students, as aspiring PMP. You are an aspiring PMP. Right now you are listening to this webinar, so the people who are listening to the webinar, you are aspiring PMPs. Step 2, that is to take 35 formal project management training. So once you are eligible, you have to take 35 hours of training. It is not like going to a management school and reading management books. The PMI is saying no PMBOK guide, well, and also the eco content. Then step 3, you have to fill up the application form and you have to submit the application form. Once you fill up the application form, which is online, and submit it, PMI will ask for payment. Payment will be $405 for the PMI member, $555 for a non-member. So personally, I would suggest be a member. Even if you do a cost-benefit analysis, membership helps you. So membership helps you not only you get the PMBOK guide soft copy for free, you also get access to a lot of other standards. You also get access to PMI related practices, PMI related journals, articles, which will help you grow as a project manager. So once you have made the payment on step 4, your application might be audited. Audit is random and it is optional. It is not mandatory that it will be audited. I was not audited, but I was audited once I got certified PMP. Then I will see in the further process also they might audit me. Right now we are saying when you are going for the PMP exam, that time you might be audited. So audit takes, once it is audited, PMI will notify you and it will ask you to give you some details, which you will see in more in later slides. So assuming you are not audited, 99% of the people won't be audited. So as I said, it is random. So we will move to step 5, which is scheduling a date for the exam. So you have to schedule and you have to choose your location and your locality for the exam. And you take the exam and be a certified PMP. So once the application is approved, this I say is candidate PMP. And once you are a certified, of course you are a certified PMP. So my main focus will be on these 3 steps. Then of course continue being a PMI PMP. I have seen personally, so I go to a lot of classes as a speaker, not only in India, out of India sometimes. So I see PMI people get certified, they work hard, then they forget to continue with the certification. So here PMI PMP, this certification is not for your entire life. If you remember in one of the previous slides, I said they evaluate you on 3 things: continuous professional development. So PMI is asking you that you learn and you accumulate 60 PDUs. PDU stands for Professional Development Unit. So fundamentally they are saying that you accumulate and enhance your project management capability in 3 years. If you are unable to get 60 PDUs in 3 years, then your certification will expire. So be careful, you have your certification, post-certification, also ensure that you remain certified. It is not really difficult, it is quite easy. Okay, PMI exam eligibility here. So there are 2 parts to it. One, that you can be a diploma holder or you can be a degree holder. So if you are a diploma holder, you will need 5 years of experience or 60 months unique non-overlapping project management experience, which is equivalent to 7,500 hours. If you are a degree holder, then you will need 3 years or 36 months of unique overlapping experience, which is around 4,500 hours of project management. In either of these cases, you need to have 35 hours of formal project management education, so which is mandatory. So key parts to note here is non-overlapping experience. It means, say you have a project running from January 2015 till March 2015, another project also you are working on which is running from January 2015 till say June 2015. So you cannot say January to March 2015, you cannot apply for both the projects. So one project you can say for January to March, another project you have to say from April to June. It has to be non-overlapping. Experience doesn't mean you need to be a designated project manager. This is another question I get frequently. So be very clear, you need not be a designated project manager. You might be a team lead, you might be a project lead, you might be a kind of specialist role, or you might be an architect. As I'm saying, there are people who are doctors, there are people who are fashion professionals. So they are not, there is no designation called project manager there as well. What PMI is asking you, your project management experience. So where is that experience? They are measuring that experience in 5 performance domains, which are initiating, planning, executing and monitoring and controlling, and closing. In short, PMI calls them IPECC, IPEC. So a project, PMI says, goes through these 5 project management performance domains. So you need to have certain experience in all these domains when you have applied for the PMP certification. So be very clear as well. It is not mandatory that you need to have experience on all the domains in a particular project. You can have in one project you have say planning and executing, in another project you have say monitoring and controlling and closing, in another project you have initiating and closing. It is all right, but it has to be non-overlapping. Next is on the exam information. So here the total number of questions that we have are 400 questions. Number of pre-text, this is a slide here. It is actually slightly changed. It has to be. The exam questions are 175. So this has to be switched. Exam questions are 175. The pre-test questions are 25. So this part is correct. 25 questions are unscored. 175 questions which are exam questions which will be scored. So together there are 200 questions. Again, I have made a mistake here. So it is, instead of 400, it will be 200 questions. So it is a 200 questions. Your total duration will be 4 hours. 200 questions and 4 hours. So each questions you will get around 72 seconds. So if you look at 214 minutes, 200 questions, you have 4 hours. An exam will be preceded by a 15 minutes tutorial, and it will be followed by a survey, which is another 15 minutes. Both are optional. Pass percentage is unknown. Nobody knows what is the pass percentage. People say there are around 60 or 65%. Nobody knows. So be clear, but exam score is available immediately to you if you are going for online, which will say it is pass or fail. An exam grading will be on the 5 performance domain, which is initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. So again, so I am repeating. So questions are 200, time is 4 hours. So here is a typo. It is 200, it should be 4 hours. Next is the exam blueprint. So blueprint is, it is saying as PMI is evaluating you on performance domains. So initiating you have 13%, planning you have 24%, executing you have 30%. Monitoring and controlling you have 25%, closing you have 8%. There is no negative marking. So my suggestion would be take the advantage. So there is no negative marking. So attempt all the questions. If you look at also, initiating is having 13% and closing is having 8%. So together it is around 21%. So another part of interesting part that you might look at is initiating is actually having, as I said, there are 5 performance domains. And each performance domain has some processes. Initiating contains 2 processes, closing contains just 2 processes. So 4 processes, you are getting around 42 questions. If you look at planning, planning has around 24 processes. So 24 processes, you are getting just 48 questions. So I would say initiating and closing are kind of low hanging fruits. So if you tackle them well, I mean your chances of success in passing in the exam really increases. Another is, you will be evaluated as proficient, moderately proficient, or below proficient in all these 5 performance domains. So it is not necessary that you are proficient in all the performance domain. If you are proficient in 3 and moderately proficient in 2, still then you can pass the exam. So there is no knowledge. PMI never discloses what is the pass percentage. As I said before, it is rather proficiency level in various performance domains. Okay. Next is PMP exam application fill-up. The exam application, as I said, first is your eligibility. We saw the eligibility. Next is that you get the 35 PDUs. Next you have the exam application fill-up. So I'll briefly talk about it because this itself will take a lot of time if you go detail on exam application study. In my class in Bangalore, I will tell them what are the part and how they should proceed, but it is out of scope. In 1 hour we really cannot cover. So, but it is important as well. So it will have, basically you have 4 to 5 parts. It will have your information, your name, address, mailing details, and highest educational level. Then your experience verification. So you will have project management experience. So assuming you are a degree holder, you will have 4,500 hours. So you have to give the project details, the title, the roles, the organization in IPECC format: initiating, planning, executing, controlling, monitoring and controlling, and closing, which PMI calls IPEC. Then you have education details, so which is 35 hours training. So Knowledgehut is a registered education provider. A good thing about registered education provider, that Knowledgehut material that you will get on its classroom training is that these are pre-approved. PMI has already sent the material and it has been pre-approved. And you have to have some optional information. These are related to survey questions. Then there is a code of conduct. So PMI takes ethics very seriously. So you have to abide by a code of conduct and finally review and submit the application. So once you have submitted the application, it will take some couple of weeks, 5 to 10 days to get it properly, that whether your application is correct or not. Then you will get an intimation to make the payment. So once you make the payment, your application might be audited. If not audited, they will inform you about the exam instructions, how to proceed for the exam. Okay, as I mentioned, the candidate PMP. So I say candidate PMP in a sense your application has been approved to a certified PMP. So certain parts in between I will actually cover more details. So this is what the main idea in the session. The 35-hour formal project management training. So here it is not part of the candidate PMP, but I think it is very important. So what happens here is your over 40% of your preparation will happen here. What is happening in PMI PMP right now? There has been a lot of price reduction. It is a competitive market, yes, but be very clear, like whichever provider you are choosing, it doesn't matter. What matters is, be very clear, over 40% you will learn in this 4-day classroom session. So this is also known as 35 PDU program, which is PDU stands for Professional Development Unit. 1 PDU is 1 hour of professional training. So as there is a saying, 1 day of interaction with expert PMP is equivalent to 1 month of reading books. Money, people, should not be your #1 criteria here. Monetarily in India it is less. In global market, it will be, you have to spend around maybe $200,000. So not 200,000, maybe $200. You have maybe $2,000 you have to spend. So it should not be your #1 criteria. So in post 35-hour training that you have, you should know the names of all process groups, all the 5 process groups, all the 10 knowledge areas. There are 10 knowledge areas in PMBOK guide, and all the 47 processes that you should be very familiar with. And you should know, after this 35 training, that you should know why and how they are interacting with each other in a project. Next is the important tools, techniques, inputs and outputs. So in PMI term it is called ITTO, I for input, T and T for tools and techniques, O for output. So you should be extremely familiar in all these things after this 35-hour of training. And be proficient in all mathematical areas. So people get certified. So I mean, they are writing also guest blogging. So I came to know it is around in 2015 there are already 2 people who have written. So they are getting around 10% of questions. So that means out of 200 questions, there are around 20 questions which will be mathematical questions. So PMI questions are not very direct. So mathematical questions are good for you because if you understand them well, it is black and white. Either there is a correct answer, there is not a correct answer. There is no confusing answer. So other theoretical questions, of course, you have to apply your mind. So which one will be the correct answer? So be very clear. This is one of the foundations. 35 hours, this will set your foundation. Next is the audit process. So I am focusing on audit because some of my applicants went through audit. So I am trying to address this situation in this webinar. So during audit, you will be asked by PMI about your degree certificates or diploma certificates, your signatures from your supervisors on the projects that you have recorded in the application, the copies that you get for 35 formal education, project management education. The documents have to be submitted within 90 days. And audit takes around 5 to 7 business days. If you have successfully cleared the audit, PMI will send in confirmation email. So here some of the tips that I would say: be honest. So whatever you have said in your application, be honest about it and immediately send it. Do not delay. So do not delay. Don't hold it for 10 or 30 days. So that will create again unnecessary trouble. Another thing people happens is like, I have shifted the organization, I have moved into another company, what should I do? Fair enough. So you have to ask your company, HR, so they should give you a certificate saying that yes, this person has joined this particular company and has experiences in PMP, and maybe HR staff. That would also do. So it might happen also like you might have 3 or 4 companies in between in your career. So in a career of 10 years, you have switched around 2 to 3 companies or 3 to 4 companies. You have to accumulate them. So PMI gives you 90 days. So create these things and submit, and it will be cleared by PMI within 5 to 7 business days. Next is preparation time. So preparation time, another thing what I get from my students, so how much time is sufficient? My suggestion will be that you go for 160 hours to 180 hours. Minimum, if you are really familiar, then you should go for 80 to 100 hours. Your duration should be spread over next 8 to 12 weeks. Maximum you should try to get it done in 24 weeks, which is 6 months. So that 35-hour formal PDU, formal training, project management training, should set you up pretty much well. So here actually the toughest part, the tendency is to elongate, delay. So do not delay. I always say my students that do not delay. If you delay again, it will be frustrating for you going forward. So you have the 35 PDUs applied, got the eligibility confirmation from PMI for the sitting in the exam, go ahead. You need to read daily around 1 to 2 hours every day. Over the weekends, you need to read around 4 to 8 hours. So together it should be around 160 to 180 hours. So if you look at in a week, I am saying around 15 hours in a week. So in a month it is around 60 hours. So within 3 months, I am saying you should be prepared yourself enough to sit in the exam. So I won't say don't take more than 3 months. But if you are stretching, 6 months should be more. More than 6 months, actually you would be forgetting. You won't remember what you read 1 year before. It is impossible to remember. Another part is revise. What you are reading, you revise. That is another tough part. What I have seen people forget because they don't revise. Then PMP exam. So exam has to be scheduled online. There is a paper-based option, but my suggestion will be that you go for online. Exam will be scheduled. This is the URL, www.promatric.com/PMI. Then once you your application by this time has been approved. So after your application is approved, you will receive a PMI eligibility ID. It will be in this format. So you have alphanumeric 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, E1. So you have to give this eligibility ID in the PMI Promatric Center. On that you will get another ID, which is a confirmation ID. So you will have 2 IDs. One is eligibility ID and one is confirmation ID. And you can set the exam scheduling maybe 3 months. I think 3 months you have to schedule. Yes, 90 days. You can, before that you can schedule. Once the date is selected, your time slot will appear. So whichever time slot is suitable for you, you can go ahead with that. Then last minute scheduling is possible as well. So if you have some serious situation, like maybe something which you cannot really address or something which you have no control over, so there is PMI is giving an option that within 48 hours before the exam date, say for example exam today is 12th, so your exam is on 15th. So if you notify PMI on 14th, PMI is not going to, that will be a penalty. But if you are notifying them on 13th, so 2 days before, excluding the exam date, PMI will allow you to reschedule the exam. Next is your exam preparation. So here a lot of my student asks, what are the books that I should refer? Here that is, they say books and friends, few but good. I would say do not refer much books. Whichever book, I have seen a lot of books. So whichever book you are following, it doesn't matter. So what matters is your fundamental concepts, are they clear? So if you are buying a book, buy just one book which is suiting your unique style. Each one of you is different. Each one of you read in a different way. Each one of you have a different productivity time, your different reading style. So go to a bookstore, find a book and find out which one is suiting you. As I am saying, this is something you should have very less. A lot of people get lack of confidence because they read a lot of books. I would say it confuses more. Keep it short, keep it sweet. So that will give you actually more confidence. It will load you more if you read a lot of books. So just keep one, and your material which has been given by the registered education provider, it may be Knowledgehut or many other you have chosen, and more importantly the 35 formal education program where your coach for the program should have set the entire foundation very well. Then your practice questions. So this is important part. You have to practice, practice and practice. So mathematical questions, be very clear. This is something which you will get answers very correctly. And PMI questions are mostly situational and scenario based. So you have to practice on those questions. Wherever you are failing on those questions, find out where you are failing and why you are failing. Look back at the material given to you by the provider, by the handouts given by your trainer, and the book that you have. And another important thing is read the PMBOK guide. So people don't read the PMBOK guide. So you read the PMBOK guide at least once. Anytime there is a conflict between your material, between your notes versus a book versus PMBOK guide is your final authority. So be very clear about that. PMBOK guide, whatever it is saying, that will be your final authority on any confusion. So you can start with 50 questions, go up to 75 questions or 100 questions and move towards 200 questions, which are the number of questions in the exam. Here is a 111 days roadmap. So as I said, it should be around 3 months, just over 3 months, you should be able to get certified as a PMP. So D stands for the exam day. So 110 day, you check your eligibility. Then 105, you decided to be a PMP, then you applied for a membership. 95, you decided to go for 35 PDU program. 75 days, you filled and submit the application. 65 days, you made the payment. 60, you form a group. Group-based studying helps. If you have 2 or 3 people preparing, that really helps. Then 55, start studying in the group. Then practice. Last 30 days, you start practice. 40 to 10 days. On 30th day, you can, before the exam, you can schedule. I would say schedule in advance. So if you schedule in advance, that really sets your mind as well. Then 7 days before the exam, then stop participating in the study. And the final day, just before the exam, do not read anything, relax, sleep well, you have done your best. And final day, I believe that you will get certified as a PMP. So here are some tips and tricks. Do a reverse planning. Plan to appear in 3 months after this 35 hours training that you have. Solve at least 2 full-length question papers. What happens, I have a student who has written his experience, he actually couldn't answer all the questions. The reason he outlined, I also had told to him before he agreed, that he had not taken any full-length questions. PMI exam is 4 hours, 200 questions. So it is not only your ability to check on the questions, it is also your ability to sit in the exam for 4 hours. It is a kind of physical stamina check. Yes, you need not sit for 4 hours entirely, you can take a break, but you should actually practice at least 2 full and 200 questions so that it prepares you for the exam. Now at the exam, schedule at least 15 days in advance. I have said 30 days, giving at least 15 days. Arrive 30 minutes before so that you get familiar. 2 government issued ID will be needed during the exam. So IDs means your name will be there, your photograph will be there, and your signature will be there. It can be your driving license, it can be your income tax card, it can be your passport, it can be any government related IDs. Do a brain dump. So you, as I said in the beginning, you have 15 minutes of optional time before the exam, which is 4 hours. So if you have forgotten the formula, you can do a brain dump. Take a break whenever needed, but be very careful. It will be 4 hours your clock will be taking. So 5 minutes break after 2 hours, you can plan and take a break, or maybe after 1.3 or 1.5 hours you can take a break. No negative marking, take the advantage. So you are not going to be penalized, so attempt all the 200 questions. Exam score will be available then and there to you. So once you are completed, submitted the exam set, question set, answered all the questions, then within 2 to 3 minutes, the notification will come to you whether you have passed or failed. Assuming you have passed, then you will be evaluated on the 5 performance domain, the IPEC. So that score, get a print copy. So people miss this part as well. So this is the only proof that you have given the exam. There is no other proof. So keep a copy with you. If there is a delay in getting certificate, I have not seen the delay personally. I have to have a certification, multiple certifications from PMI. But if it delays, so this is the proof that you have that yes, you have got certified. Some more tips. What the exam does not test: your project management experience. PMI is not testing that. So whatever project management experience, PMI is saying, we are not really looking for that. We are looking at what PMBOK guide is saying, what ECO is saying, and some additional out-of-bound concepts. Your common sense, it doesn't test. Your knowledge of industry practices. Your knowledge of software tools. You might know 10 software tools, PMI is not interested in that. What you have learned in management schools. I have seen MBAs, senior people, so what you have learned in management graduation, it doesn't matter to PMI. So what the exam is testing, your knowledge of PMI's process and philosophy. Your understanding of the many terms that are used to be described in the processes. Your ability to apply those processes in various contexts. Your understanding of professional responsibility as it applies to project management discipline. So there is something called ethics and professional responsibility. So here PMI also tests you, but right now a lot of people are saying sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. But be safe than being sorry. So you need to be familiar with that module as well. Your ability to apply key formulas to scheduling, costing, estimating, and other problems. So what PMI is saying is this is what it doesn't test, but what it is actually trying to evaluate you on. And as I said, also it analyzes you psychometrically. So most tips which is available in my blog. So here there are many successful PMPs. So I recently started blogging. I asked them to, will they be interested? I mean, some of them are interested and shared the detailed experiences. So the short URLs are available here. The detailed experiences is available in my blog. There are a lot of PMPs who have got certified, and it is a 2-page, 3-page experience. They have written what they did, what you should do, what you should not do, what are the tips you should take for the exam. You can read more on that. Okay, continuing as a PMP. So after you get certified, you need to have 60 PDUs in 3-year cycle. If you don't have 60 PDUs, your certification will expire. 1 PDU is 1 hour of professional training. PDU actually at the top level is divided into 2 categories. One is educational PDU, one is giving back to the professional PDU. Educational PDUs are A, B, C, so 3 categories. Giving back to profession, you have 3 categories: category D, category E, category F. Together, you need to have 60 PDUs. There is no cap on the education PDUs. There are certain caps, which is 45 PDUs on D, E, F category. Right now, you are sitting and there's a webinar, a PMP webinar, so you are eligible for 1 PDU. If you are a certified PMP, you are eligible for 1 PDU. So this will come under category D PDU. Education PDU, there is no cap. So if you are learning a self-directed learning, people don't know that this part as well. If you are getting certified in other areas, or if you are reading a book, or if you are writing a journal, so those things also applicable. If you are writing a management article, that is also applicable. If you are sitting in a webinar, right now you are getting. If you are speaking, that time I am also eligible for 1 PDU. So next is sustaining benefits. So once you are, so PMI PMP helps you in your career. I have personally seen it opens a lot of doors. Not only it helps you in career, it also helps you in your other certifications from PMI. PMI has another certification called ACP, which is Agile Certified Practitioner. Here you have some 2 years of project management experience. If you are a PMI PMP, then this will be where top. There is, you can grow from a project manager to a program manager to a portfolio manager. So there are multiple certifications available. PMP helps you in PGMP. There are in PGMP, there is a standard guide where you have PMBOK concepts applicable. PFMP, as I said in the beginning, portfolio management professional. So that also you will know how the standard, I mean the ITTO format of PMI help you. It won't help you directly, but indirectly it is going to help. I have seen people coming from MBA. The reason is PMI is low cost, but it has a high value. And PMI is more recognized than many MBA programs on project management. It is also, I would agree to that. So we might spend a lot of money in an MBA, but here you are continuously learning, and which is a globally recognized certificate. So this is another advantage. You can highlight your achievement as a PMP professional in your online professional, maybe in a social media. So there are many social media from say LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. So wherever you are, you can online highlight them. You can put your official signature of PMP in your official signature. You can put them in your resume. So if you are putting, so that is also recognized in your visiting cards. That also you can put your PMI related certifications. So that is all that I have to share. Now I'll take the questions that you have. If you have a question, raise your hand. That is there is the organizer who will help you.
So I'll read out the question. We have a question here. The question is, compared to PMP, is CAPM also globally recognized?
Yes, it is. So CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. So this is helps you in PMP certification further. It is recognized. So the experience level is less. So for PMP, if you are a diploma holder, your experience is 5 years. Degree holder, your experience is 3 years. For CAPM, if you are going for, like for example, some people have 1 to 2 years of experience, but they want to get into a project management coordination role, a project management expediter role. So if you want to be in that kind of a role, it will help you, and it is, yes, it is recognized.
Thank you, Satya. We have another question here.
Any other?
Yes, the question is, what's the benefit of PMI membership?
Yeah, so as I said, PMI, the first benefit, it is evident. So if you are a member, you will have $405 to pay. If you are not a member, you have $555 to pay. So there is a gap of $140 immediately. Another thing is, if you are a member, you will get the PMI PMBOK guide on which the exam content is best. You will get it free. In the market, it will be costing you money. So that is another one. You will get access to other standards from PMI. So like PMI EVM standard, PMI WBS standard. So those standards you will have access, online access, which is another benefit. You might get quiz questions which is specific to PMI PMP, so there are benefits as well. There are benefits like you will get articles, journals, and also invitations to join PMI seminars. PMI conducts a lot of webinars themselves, so there are also benefits. So I mean, a lot of benefits. Personally, I would suggest that if you are going for a PMP certification, be a member. So that will help you not only monetarily, it will also help you in other getting the standards, getting the monetary benefit, as I said, and of course, quiz questions, journals, all these things you will get as benefits.
Okay, Satya, coming back to the first question.
I hope I answered the question. Yes.
Yes, Satya, coming back to the first question. The question was for Certified International Project Manager. It was not for CAPM, but the question was for CIPM. So I'll read out the question again. Compared to PMP, is CIPM also globally recognized?
Yeah, this again, I won't be discussing on that. That will be out of scope on this. I won't be discussing on that. So this is, in this session we have focused on PMI PMP. So another one, if you are not eligible for PMI PMP, you can go for CAPM, where the experience criteria is less. CIPM I won't be addressing. This is not in the scope of this session.
Thank you, Satya. We have another question here from Mr. Ajay Chaudhary. He's asking, heard that the PMP content outline is going to change this summer. Is that true?
Yeah, so I mean, the latest was available in August. July actually 2012 it got published. So latest was available in 2012 August. So far I am a member, also I am a RDS reviewer. So far I have not received any notification. So if it is getting updated, it won't be happening instantly. PMI doesn't do anything immediately. They will give you sufficient time to switch from one section to another one. So eco content, it will be, again, there will be mostly overlap with PMBOK guide. Some of the knowledge and skills, as I said, 37 tasks, 65 knowledge and skills, some of them might be updated. So there is another update that has come on PDU as well, but that is again not officially enforced yet. So you need not worry, you will have sufficient time to have prepare on that. So at least 6 months time PMI will give you.
Satya, we have a question here from Mr. Gautam Chaudhary. He's asking like, which is the best book on PMP for preparation?
As I said, I had a slide on that. So I don't recommend any particular book. So my experience, I mean, there are people who read a lot of books. There are people who don't read any book. I have seen, I mean, they have successfully also cleared PMP. So I will focus on the 35 PDUs. So that is where the fundamentals get set up. Second thing is PMBOK guide. Read one book. So I would say each one of you is unique. That's what I will say to Gautam. So Gautam, each one of you is unique. So go to a bookstore, buy a book, which one is suiting your style. So there will be a book some people have maybe hyped in the market, or somebody said, some 20 people said, yes, very good book. But it need not be a good book for you. So you are a unique individual. Which one is suiting your independent style? So buy that book. So that will help you more.
Satya, we have a question here again from Mr. Ajay Chaudhary. He's asking, what is the course outline, course content of PMP?
Sorry, come again?
What is PMP content outline?
Yeah, so this is what, I mean, there is a PMBOK guide. PMBOK guide is the guide on which the PMP exam will be based. Another part a lot of providers may miss is the exam content outline. Exam content outline, it is having almost all the sections of PMBOK guide, the 5 performance domains. So they have broken down and they have added some extra content, like some knowledge and skills, some of the line items which are extra in ECO, that is exam content outline. So you have to look at the PMBOK guide. You have to look at another PDF file which is available online at PMI site, which is exam content outline. So if you read PMBOK guide, 95% will be covered. Exam content outline, some of the knowledge and skills will be extra, so that you need to be familiar with it. So this is some, I mean, on that actually the PMP exam is fundamentally based. On that actually the RDS, the role delineation study that I said, that is fundamentally based. So that is helping you for the exam. So PMBOK guide is the main guide, but how the exam is structured, how many percentage will come, what are the tasks that will be asked questions, what are the knowledge and skills you will be evaluated on in detail, that will be part of ECO, the exam content outline.
Question here from Mr. Bhargav. Is PMBOK would be paper book or a PDF one?
You have both. You have both PDF. If you are a member, you will get a soft copy for PMI PMBOK guide. If you are not a member, so you might buy a book, hard copy from a bookstore, from Amazon or any other like Flipkart in India, you can buy it. So both soft copy as well as hard copy, both are available.
Yes, so the next question is, what are the documentations needed to report PDU in category F for practicing in project management field?
Yeah, so I mean, see, like there are, as I said, there are two categories. So category F, again, it will take a lot of detailed discussion on that. So that is giving back to the profession. So giving back to the profession, so that will be the category F. So there, whatever documentation you are having, it will be detailed. There is a PDU guide from PMI. So they have a lot of inputs in that. So PDU guide, so like in category F, I do not remember all the contents. But PMI will, in that, you open that guide, when you open that guide, PMI will say what are the contents which will be validated. For example, like say category D, I don't remember the content of category F because it's a huge book. So category D, for example, they are saying, or say there is something called self-directed learning in educational. So self-directed learning, if you are reading a book, so 15 hours, you are eligible for 15 videos. So you could keep records for those books. You read say maybe videos, you took personal notes, you kept soft copies. So PMI might ask you on audit, PMI might ask you, what are the books you read, what are the proof you have. Similarly for category F, in the guide of PMI, it will be clearly mentioned how PMI will ask for the proof.
Satya, the next question is, yeah, we have another question. It's like, can we clear PMP by reading only PMBOK?
No, PMBOK. See, there are steps. PMI is evaluating you in multiple things. One is 35 videos, that is one. Alright, so you have to attend a good session. You may choose any provider you go, but be very careful. What has happened right now in the market, I mean, there is 50% reduction in price. So, and people go for 50% reduction, but in turn, I have seen people personally, they go to a provider because of less money, then come to me saying that I actually delayed by another 6 months. So do not do that. So have 35 PDUs, that is mandatory, you have to go. So there is a mandatory. So PMBOK only reading is not going to be applicable. Second part, once the mandatory part is over, then yes, you have to read PMBOK once, as I said in my tips. And of course, you have the notes, material provided by the provider where you took the mandatory 35 PDUs, and that should be sufficient. Even if you are not reading any book, I read only, when I gave my exam in 2008, I didn't have any book that time. In Bangalore, there were hardly one provider, there is no availability, still we cleared the exam. We were a group, we still cleared the exam. It was very difficult that time. So I would say 35 PDU, where your foundation is solidly built, where you understand each and every part very clearly, then PMBOK guide end to end, and some extra notes, practice, that should be sufficient. Even if you are not reading a book, you should be able to clear the exam.
Thank you, Satya. We have one question from Mr. Mayank Agarwal. Of so many books, how can one decide that the book suits my type?
Right. So what I am saying is there are many books. So book suits my type in a sense. Okay, let me tell you the books in the market. What is there a book? There are people say there is a book from say Andy Crow. So Andy Crow is the author which is saying how to pass PMP exam in the first try. Some people like it because it is very simply written. There is another book from Headfirst PMP. Headfirst PMP that is written in with a lot of tools, cartoons with notes, which is again a lot of people like it. So another book from another author who is Rita Mulke. So Rita Mulke is PMP Exam Prep. So a lot of people like that book. There is another book which is Kim Heldman. Kim Heldman again, his writing style is different. So what I would suggest, this is what I tell my students. Go to a bookstore, walk into a bookstore, sit there for 1 hour, take the books which will be available in the shelf, spend some 1 to 2 hours looking at the books, pass through the pages. So you as a person is unique. You have had a fundamental 35 PDU which is solidly built. You have gone through PMI PMBOK guide once. You have had some practice questions in the session of 35 formal education. Then you see which book is helping you. So I don't know how you are as an individual. So you as an individual has a liking, has a disliking. It doesn't matter which book you read. It doesn't matter Rita, doesn't matter Andy, it doesn't matter Headfirst or Tim Hellman or any other book. I have seen all of them. I won't say any of them is bad or any of them is good. All are good actually, in my opinion. So you read any book or you don't read any book. So if you have 35 PDUs very thoroughly prepared, you understand the fundamentals of PMBOK and you are going with sufficient practice, maybe if you attempted around 600 to 800 questions, you are ready to clear the exam. It has happened, people have done so. But again, your confidence level will be decided by you, not by somebody else.
Here, the question is, what is the level of importance of using the formulas in the exam?
Yes, as I said, so PMI has a lot of scenario-based questions. So not only scenario, you have situational questions, you have trap questions. Knowingly they will put you a trapping question. There is psychometrically evaluating. There will be ethics-related questions. What mathematical question is helping you is these are direct questions. Mathematical question has only one answer which is correct. So if you have around 10% of questions which are coming, which people are saying, my students are saying who are successful PMPs, so 20 questions you are getting. So if you are mathematically clear, like earned value management, you will get a lot of mathematical questions. You have expected monetary value in risk management, you will get mathematical questions. Communication channels, in communication management, you will get mathematical questions. There are some project selection techniques like you have net present value, IRR, internal rate of return, then you have cost benefit analysis, then you have return on investment. In that also you will get mathematical questions. Critical path, forward path, backward path. So we'll put together you will get 20 questions, 20 to 22 questions. So the advantage is here you have only one choice, right choice. So either you are right or either you are wrong. In other questions, what happened, PMI plays with your mind. The question plays with your mind. You are not very sure whether the answer is correct on the theoretical question. So mathematical questions, if you are very clear on the mathematical concepts, you are definitely getting 100%, you know this is the right answer. There cannot be any other possible right answers. That helps you to get certified. I mean, your chances of success increase. And it is not difficult. The question that you are getting, mathematical questions, these are not really difficult. If you understand fundamentally well, you can answer all the questions pretty comfortably.
We have a last question here. The question is there any
I hope I
software?
asked it. Okay.
Yeah. So the question is there
Yes.
any software to simulate exam?
There are. So there are Android applications, there are iPhone apps, there are software available desktop based. Android people are using. I do not remember the name. This slide will be shared by Sandhya once the seminar is over. One of my successful PMPs, he has mentioned some 2-3 apps, online apps which you can download to your Android phone or iPhone, so that you can take the practice questions as well. I mean, if you have any hour here, hour there, or sitting in a lunch, then you want to practice. So one of my students who is a successful PMP already, he has mentioned some apps, and some of the apps he has personally recommended. So you may try that. In the blog that is available, the URL of the link is available in one of the slides.
Great. So I hope we have answered all the questions. Thank you, Satya. Thank you for a very informative
All right,
webinar presentation. Yes.
Yeah, so there are some, if you have any questions, so again, as I am saying, so you can put in my blog I'll definitely answer, and if you put in my blog. And if you are getting certified in as a successful PMP, I invite you as a person to write the blog, because we as a volunteers in PMI, we ask people to know more and more on PMI. Knowledgehut is a registered education provider from PMI. If you have any questions on them to come as a 35 PDU in Bangalore or any part of India, they have multiple parts in India. They conduct operations as well as trainings, so you can ask them. I hope you like the questions. You like the session, and you like the session, and I hope it will help you to get certified as a PMI PMP. And hopefully the people I interacted, Gautam, Anand, so the top people, I hope some of you get certified as a PMP. Good luck and all the best from my side, and best wishes are with you. Thank you.